Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to speak to the fire inside you, the part of you that refuses to settle, the part of you that knows deep down you were meant for more. Success is not a matter of chance, it's a matter of choice. And life isn't just something that happens to use it, something we create, moment by moment, decision by decision. There are 5 fundamental principles that govern not just success, but a life of meaning, fulfillment, and legacy. These are timeless, unshakable truths. Let's dive in. Purpose is the driving force behind every extraordinary life. It is the invisible hand that guides your actions, decisions, and direction. Without it, you're like a ship adrift, at sea tossed by the waves, pulled by the currents, but never truly in control of your course. Purpose gives life meaning. It defines not only where you're going, but why you want to get there. It brings clarity in the face of confusion, resolve in the face of resistance, and energy when you feel like giving up. When you have a clear, definite purpose, every part of your being aligns. Your thoughts begin to serve your vision. Your actions begin to reflect your goals. And your time, your greatest asset, is no longer wasted on distractions that don't align with your mission. Purpose creates focus. It cuts through the noise. In a world overflowing with opportunities, information, and opinions, it's easy to lose yourself trying to chase everything. But purpose tells you what to say yes to, and more importantly, what to say no to. It gives you a filter. Without it, you may achieve temporary success, but it will feel hollow, aimless, disconnected. With it, even the smallest steps forward carry deep meaning. Purpose is not about grand ambition for the sake of applause. It's about aligning your unique strengths with a cause greater than yourself. It's the answer to the question, why am I doing this? It's the fuel that powers your hustle, the voice that reminds you to keep going when the grind gets tough. And let's be clear, it will get tough, but a person with purpose doesn't crumble under pressure. They rise, because purpose gives pain a reason. It turns suffering into sacrifice, struggle into stepping stones. Finding your purpose doesn't always happen overnight. Sometimes it whispers, sometimes it comes to you in pieces, over time, through action, through failure, through experience. But once you find it even, a glimpse it becomes your guiding star. Purpose doesn't just push you to succeed, it pulls you forward. It magnetizes opportunities, people, and ideas that align with your mission. It strengthens your sense of identity and makes your confidence unshakable, because you're no longer just reacting to life, you're building it intentionally. There's a difference between movement and progress. Many people are busy, constantly in motion, but they aren't going anywhere that matters. They're checking boxes, meeting expectations, chasing goals that aren't even their own. Purpose changes that. It ensures that your work has impact, that your energy has direction, and that your success has depth. When you act with purpose, you no longer chase success just to prove something, you pursue it to create something. That shift changes everything. Belief is the seed from which all success grows. Long before a goal is achieved, a business is built, or a dream is realized, it must first exist in the mind of the person who dares to believe it's possible. Faith is the foundation, not just in the outcome, but in oneself. Without belief, even the most brilliant ideas fade. With it, even the most impossible dreams begin to feel inevitable. Faith is what bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to be. It doesn't require proof or evidence. It requires conviction, a deep internal knowing that what you seek can and will become real if you refuse to quit. Belief is not passive. It is a force. It's not about wishful thinking or naive optimism. Real belief demands courage. It demands that you silence the doubt in your head and the voices outside of you telling you to play it safe. It demands action, because when you truly believe, you move differently. You speak with more certainty. You show up with more energy. You take risks others avoid. You invest in yourself when no one else does. That's the power of belief. It changes your behavior and, in turn, your result. Most people wait until they have proof before they believe. They want to see signs of progress before they commit. But the truth is, belief must come first. It's the precondition for progress. Belief gives birth to effort, and effort brings results. Without that inner confidence, even the first step feels too big. But when you believe, you step into the unknown with purpose, not fear. You understand that failure isn't fatal, it's feedback. Every setback becomes a setup for growth, because you never lose the faith that it's all leading somewhere worthwhile. Belief is what turns the invisible into the visible. Everything ever created, from the tallest skyscraper to the most innovative technology, was once just an idea in someone's mind. But the people who brought those ideas to life didn't wait for guarantees. They believed first. They believed when no one else did. And that belief gave them the strength to endure doubt, criticism, rejection, and delay. Because belief, real belief, has endurance. It doesn't fade when things get hard. It intensifies. It sharpens your vision in the dark and keeps your fire lit when the world grows cold. There's a difference between saying you want something and truly believing you're meant for it. The latter changes how you carry yourself. It makes you stand taller, speak with more conviction, and act with more intention. Belief activates your potential. It awakens parts of you that have been sleeping under the weight of fear and insecurity. When you believe, you stop waiting for permission and start claiming your place. You stop asking, "Can I?" and start declaring, "I will." And this mindset, this unwavering belief in yourself, in your purpose, in your power, becomes the blueprint for every achievement that follows. Success is not reserved for the most talented, the most intelligent, or even the most experienced. It favors those who take consistent, deliberate action. The world is full of people with brilliant ideas and incredible potential who never move beyond the thinking phase. They plan, they dream, they talk, but they never act. And in the end, it's not what you know or intend that changes your life, it's what you do. Action is the catalyst that turns thought into reality. It's the force that transforms vision into something tangible. Without action, even the clearest goals remain fantasies. Waiting for the perfect moment is one of the greatest traps of personal growth. Perfection is an illusion. The conditions will never be just right. The timing will never feel completely safe. The resources will never all line up the way you hope. If you wait for the stars to align before you take your shot, you'll be waiting forever. Action requires courage, not certainty. It requires the willingness to move forward despite the unknown, to embrace the possibility of failure in pursuit of something greater. Every successful person you admire took messy, imperfect action before they were ready. They didn't wait to be fearless. They moved forward while they were still scared. There's power in momentum. Small actions, repeated daily, create compound results that are almost impossible to measure in the beginning, but unstoppable in the long run. One step might seem insignificant today, but over time, it builds discipline, confidence, and capability. That's the beauty of consistency. It doesn't demand heroic effort, it demands regular effort. Showing up every day, especially when motivation fades, is what separates those who only want success from those who achieve it. Discipline eats inspiration for breakfast. Because inspiration comes and goes, but action taken consistently builds unshakable habits. Action creates clarity. It's through doing that we learn, adjust, and improve. No amount of planning or studying will teach you as much as taking that first imperfect step. Too many people get stuck in preparation mode, telling themselves they need just a little more time, a little more information, a little more confidence. But real clarity comes from movement. You don't need to see the entire staircase, you just need to take the next step, and then the one after that. Each action reveals new insight, and that insight fuels smarter decisions going forward. Fear often disguises itself as logic when we hesitate to act. We convince ourselves we're being strategic or careful, when in reality, we're just afraid of failure or judgment. But inaction is the true danger. Time passes whether you move or not. And the cost of hesitation is opportunity lost. When you take action, even the wrong action, you gain experience, resilience, and perspective. You become more capable. You become braver. Every time you act, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. You reinforce the belief that you're someone who follows through, someone who creates, someone who changes their life from the inside out. Success is never a solo journey. Behind every great achievement is a network of influence, support, and collaboration that shape the path. No matter how driven or talented you are, your growth will eventually be limited by the people you choose to surround yourself with. The right relationships don't just inspire, they challenge, elevate, and sharpen you. They expand your perspective, hold you accountable, and remind you of your potential when you forget it yourself. Your environment matters, and people are the most powerful part of that environment. The truth is, we become like the people we spend the most time with. Their energy, their habits, their mindset, it all rubs off on us, whether we realize it or not. If you're constantly around people who complain, procrastinate, or settle for average, you'll find yourself doing the same, no matter how ambitious you are. On the other hand, when you're surrounded by people who are driven, focused, and intentional, that standard becomes normal. Excellence becomes contagious. You start to think bigger, aim higher, and move faster. There's a kind of magic that happens when like-minded people unite around a common goal. When you're part of a group that values growth and pushes for greatness, you're no longer limited to your own motivation or perspective. You gain access to collective wisdom, shared experience, and honest feedback that speeds up your evolution. A great team or partnership doesn't just support your vision, it strengthens it. It fills in the gaps. Where you're weak, they're strong. Where you hesitate, they encourage. Where you doubt, they remind you of your strength. But not all relationships serve your mission. Some connections drain your energy, distract your focus, and discourage your ambition. Choosing who you allow into your inner circle is one of the most important decisions you will ever make. You must be intentional about who gets access to your time and influence. It's not about cutting people off, it's about curating an environment that reflects where you're going, not just where you've been. You can love people from a distance and still protect your space. Growth requires boundaries, and greatness requires alignment. Mastermind groups, mentors, accountability partners, these aren't luxuries, they're necessities. Even the most successful people on the planet rely on trusted advisors and powerful networks to help them stay sharp. A mastermind alliance doesn't mean surrounding yourself with people who agree with everything you say. It means choosing those who challenge your thinking, call you out when you fall short, and celebrate your wins without envy. It means having people who are as invested in your growth as you are in theirs. Success multiplies when shared. Ideas become bigger when discussed. Courage becomes stronger when supported, and progress becomes faster when fueled by collaboration. You may have to walk the path of discipline alone sometimes, but you should never walk the entire journey of success in isolation. The people you align with will either become your greatest leverage or your greatest limitation, depending on who you choose. Persistence is the quiet force that drives all achievement. It's not loud or flashy, but it's relentless. It doesn't shout. It whispers, keep going, when everything around you says stop. Most people give up, not because they lack talent, vision, or opportunity, but because they lack the endurance to keep showing up when results don't come quickly. The road to success is rarely a straight line. It's filled with setbacks, rejections, delays, and failures. What separates those who succeed from those who fall short isn't luck or timing, it's their refusal to quit. Every worthwhile pursuit will test you. The universe will ask if you're serious. It will present you with obstacles that seem unfair, moments that feel unbearable, and stretches of time when no progress is visible. This is where most people retreat. They question their path, their ability, their worthiness, but those who persist push through that noise. They understand that adversity is part of the process, not a sign to give up. Persistence means staying committed to the outcome even when the journey gets uncomfortable, inconvenient, or uncertain. It means trusting that effort will compound even when you can't yet see the results. There's a misconception that success happens quickly, that breakthroughs appear overnight. But behind every overnight success story is often years of invisible work, late nights, early mornings, repeated failures, and relentless learning. Persistence is what keeps you going during the long, thankless chapters of the journey. It's what allows you to rise after a loss, regroup after a mistake, and recommit after a disappointment. Every time you persist, you reinforce your resilience. You become harder to discourage, tougher to derail, and stronger in your purpose. Persistence is not just about continuing, it's about adapting, improving, and growing stronger each time you try again. It's not about doing the same thing over and over without change. It's about being willing to evolve, to take feedback, to shift strategies while staying loyal to your vision. People who persist are not stubborn, they're resourceful. They understand that failure is a teacher, not a verdict. They extract the lessons, adjust their approach, and move forward with more wisdom than before. It's easy to be motivated when things are going well, but true persistence shows up when the excitement fades, when the crowd is gone, and when the results are slow. It's forged in silence, tested in struggle, and proven in the moments when quitting seems easier than continuing. That's when persistence becomes powerful, when it turns into discipline. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. It's showing up not because it's exciting, but because it's necessary. The people who reach the highest levels of success often aren't the most talented. They're the most determined. They're the ones who kept moving when others stopped. They're the ones who saw the same obstacles but chose a different response. They didn't wait for perfect timing or external motivation. They developed an inner drive that refused to be silenced, no matter how difficult the path became. There is no keynote number 16 in the original list of 7 we created together. However, if you're referring to a new idea or you meant to expand, keynote number 6, which was Progress Requires Discipline, I can definitely do that for you. Assuming you meant keynote number 6 asterisk asterisk, here's a 500-word expansion. Discipline is the foundation on which lasting success is built. It's the ability to do what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. It doesn't rely on emotion, mood, or motivation. It relies on commitment. Progress doesn't come from bursts of inspiration or occasional effort. It comes from consistent, focused, intentional action taken day after day. The truth is, motivation will fail you. Some days you'll feel tired, distracted, uninspired, or discouraged. Discipline is what carries you through those moments. It is the bridge between intention and achievement. Many people start strong. They set goals, make plans, get excited about the future. But excitement fades. Life gets busy. Distractions creep in. And without discipline, even the best plans fall apart. Discipline isn't about intensity, it's about consistency. It's about showing up again and again, especially when progress feels slow and rewards are not immediate. It's what turns a single effort into a habit and a habit into a lifestyle. The people who succeed in any field aren't necessarily the most gifted. They're the ones who've trained themselves to do the work even when it's hard, boring, or thankless. Discipline requires structure. It requires making decisions in advance about how you'll spend your time, where you'll focus your energy, and what you'll prioritize. It means setting boundaries that protect your attention and routines that protect your goals. When you're disciplined, you don't wait to feel ready. You create conditions that make readiness irrelevant. You don't leave success up to chance. You build it one disciplined decision at a time. The compound effect of discipline is powerful. 1 hour of focused work a day may not seem like much, but over a year, that's 365 hours time most people never use intentionally. One healthy choice may not transform your body today, but repeated daily, it changes everything. Discipline turns small efforts into unstoppable momentum. It gives you control over your life instead of letting your circumstances dictate your direction. It transforms chaos into clarity and distraction into progress. Discipline also builds self-respect. Every time you follow through on a promise to yourself, you prove that your word matters. You begin to trust yourself. That inner trust creates confidence, the quiet, steady kind that doesn't need validation. Confidence that comes not from what you say you'll do, but from what you consistently do. And with that confidence comes the freedom to dream bigger and push harder, because you know you'll back up your vision with disciplined action. There will always be easier choices, tempting shortcuts, and immediate comforts that pull you away from long-term goals. Discipline is what helps you say no to what you want now in favor of what you want most. It's the internal compass that keeps you aligned with your highest priorities. It doesn't eliminate struggle, but it gives the struggle a purpose. And with that purpose, every day becomes a step forward, no matter how small. Success is not a matter of chance or luck. It is a deliberate choice. Every outcome in life, whether good or bad, is shaped by the decisions we make and the actions we take. Too many people move through life in a reactive state, waiting for opportunities to show up, waiting for the perfect time, waiting for someone to give them permission. But those who achieve meaningful success understand that waiting is a trap. They don't wait for things to happen, they make them happen. They realize that life is not something that happens to them, it is something they create with every thought, every choice, and every step. Choosing success means accepting full responsibility for where you are and where you want to go. It means refusing to blame your circumstances, your past, or other people for your current situation. While you may not control everything that happens to you, you absolutely control how you respond. That response is your power. It's what turns challenges into fuel and setbacks into strategies. The decision to own your life, to take full accountability for your direction, is what separates the average from the exceptional. When you choose success, you stop drifting and start directing. You become intentional with your time, your energy, and your focus. You begin to set goals not just because it's January or because someone told you to, but because you understand that clear goals give your life structure and aim. They turn your potential into progress. But goal setting is only one part of the choice. Execution is where that choice becomes real. Every single day you must re-choose your path through the decisions you make, how you spend your morning, what you prioritize, what habits you keep, what distractions you eliminate. Choosing success also means choosing growth. It means being willing to face discomfort, to push past fear, to confront your own limitations. It means learning continuously, evolving constantly, and being humble enough to admit when you need to adjust. People who choose success do not see failure as the end, they see it as part of the process. They understand that falling down is inevitable, but staying down is optional. And every time they get back up, they do so with more strength, more clarity, and more resolve. There will always be easier paths, the path of least resistance, the path of excuses, the path of settling. But success is not found on those roads. It's found on the path that requires discipline, focus, and resilience. Choosing success often means choosing the harder route in the short term so you can enjoy greater freedom in the long term. It means being willing to do what others won't so you can live how others can't. The decision to succeed must be made again and again, not just once. It's a choice embedded in daily effort, in small actions, in the refusal to quit when things get hard. And that choice, repeated over time, becomes the life you live.